So we're gonna call the meeting to orders and introductions, so we'll start, Lucy.
Lucy Gratwick, Marlboro Town Representative. Jill Dean, Wardsboro Town Resident.
Chip Vickery, Dover School Board.
Randy Capitani, Dover.
Dwight Borum, Wardsboro.
Rich Warner, I'm sorry, Dover.
John Everett, USBA consultant.
Dan MacArthur, Marlboro School Board.
Mike Murphy, Wardsboro.
Selena Romo, Marlboro.
Gus Bartlett, Marlboro.
Video guy.
Off camera.
Carol Ann Johnson, Marlboro School Board.
Anita Raphael, PR.
Douglas Core, Marlboro School Board.
And Lauren Hartwick, I'm from the Deerfield Valley News.
Okay, you're not a minute taker.
I'm
Peter
not-
was double booked tonight, he's in Newfane, I passed him, we almost hit. There's no good way to get from Townsend to here either.
Now you gotta go all the way around, Lordsboro over the hill.
No, I went Auger
I
Road,
go
but
over
it's still,
Still not an
You
easy
know,
way.
North
Stinks.
Hill's fastest, North Pond Road's fastest.
yeah, I was thinking which would be the fastest way.
North Pond Road, definitely.
Dan's right, I clocked it.
Oh,
It's
I
8
wish I'd known
miles.
that.
So straight.
2.8 miles less.
2.8 miles less, yep.
Okay. Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda from anybody?
We're at the same height.
Yep.
Nobody, no additions or deletions? Okay, I need to get a motion to approve the November 3rd, 2016 meetings as written. You can't move that. I noticed your hand going. Thank you, Randy. Do I have a second? Lucy, so we have a motion by Randy, second by Lucy to approve the minutes of the November 3rd, 2016 meeting. If there's no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Public input. Doug, you're public.
I am,
Any input or just visiting?
just visiting.
Okay. Carol Ann wrote a very nice little 2-page thing that would have taken me probably a day or two. And I was bringing it, it's in my school board bag, and I don't have it with me. Would you like to read that? Or would you like to have one of us read it? Or would you wanna hold that till we get into the work on the article?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
I forgot my tablet, I'd have to read it on my phone, or someone could.
I have it right here, actually.
Exactly.
Okay.
You have it on your phone too.
I have it on my phone.
You've already got it?
Has everybody seen what Carol Ann wrote?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I have it printed if somebody wants.
Yeah, Doug, did you get to see it?
No.
I forwarded it to you.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
I
and
definitely have it.
did
Sorry,
you get
no.
to see it?
I
You
have
get-
it.
You have it, okay, did you see it? Okay, so everybody's seen it, oh, I'm sorry, you're sitting there in the corner like by yourself.
I think I sent it, did I send it to you? I did send
You
it.
sent me things, yeah, I'm sure I have read it, I'm sure. Carry on.
Yeah, I don't wanna know about what things she sent you. Okay, so we'll,
Jokes.
Neighborhood jokes, we're neighbors.
okay. So we'll hold that and then we can bring that up, if that's okay, Carol.
Sure.
And I'm gonna, while we're on that topic, I'm gonna suggest that be introduced with other members of the committee's comments into the final report. Carol Ann being a school board member and being thoughtful in the process. We've each submitted our feedback, and I feel like Carol Ann's should be along with that. That's my suggestion to the committee.
I have a question,
Sir,
not related to this.
Yeah.
I just wanted to come back to it.
public input.
The articles of agreement,
Yeah.
they're not easily found on the blog.
Because they're not posted yet.
Are you guys gonna post drafts?
As soon as we have something like a final
Okay.
version, they will be posted and announcements and everything will be sent out. It's just been a work in progress so far,
Gotcha.
and it would have been difficult to keep up with additions, changes, amendments
Gotcha,
for the public. So we thought we'd wait till it had a
okay,
really solid shape.
gotcha,
Well, you've been getting the minutes and stuff, right?
yes.
You've been, okay. And that takes us right into, thank you, Doug,
Mhm.
communications update, if any. So I see you put the Bucketville News here,
Yep.
and I see
So-
we got another thing.
That, I thought that would be of interest to you. That is a page from the Wyndham News and Notes, and Carolyn Partridge wrote her recap of the other committee's work with some personal comments. So I thought it might be just of general interest to you as the chair of this committee, and I can certainly email that to everybody as well. So PR-wise, the brochures at Wardsboro anyway, were well received. We only had a handful left over, and what were left over, I distributed to the post office, the food pantry, the school, the library, and so a couple other places, so the general store. So we made good use of those, and people seemed happy to have them. So if you have feedback from your towns on whether they were good or bad, that would be good for us to know going forward. The other thing is.
Well, why don't we hold there, and why don't we discuss that?
Oh, okay.
Dan, did you guys get some out from Marlboro?
Yes, we did, I don't
I
know.
put 125 of them at the town clerk's office for election day on Tuesday, and there wasn't really anybody there when I dropped them off. But I made a big sign,
They were,
and
it had
diminished
diminished
when
when I
yeah.
voted.
Mhm.
Linda was keeping an eye on them in case she needed to make more photocopies, so I didn't hear that they needed more, but.
Okay, so I'm gonna use a bad word here, guys. So I made a very vibrant, we copied it onto a very vibrant piece of paper. And I was getting.
Hot pink.
Yeah, it was almost like the color of this.
About like that.
So, and
You
then-
couldn't miss it when you walked in the vote.
Right, and I was using the word vibrant, but I was told that's not like me, so I can't use it. It was a bad word for me. But we made a bunch of them. I think she made 200 of them, and
Yeah.
they went really well, Andy said. And then I've got probably 60 or 70 left. I left some at the town clerk's office, because we vote at the town hall, which they don't do anything, a lot of stuff doesn't go on there. And I'm gonna get them to the school, because we're gonna try to get them to all the parents. And I'm gonna try to put some in the library. The post office doesn't really like you to post, things to pick up. You can put like one up, but I just don't think it reads really good as a flat thing, so. And then I know we also discussed, this is a very short-term thing. It's gonna like end, it has an end date very soon. So, but I got some feedback on it too. I gave it to 3 or 4 people that had no clue what we were doing and aren't even in our communities, from outside communities. And they said it was really well done, Anita, because they said it kind of didn't have a lot of answers, but it told you where to go to get answers.
Right.
And that's what we were looking for. So I'm hoping we have good luck with it. So great job.
Right, well, thank you all for your corrections and input, so right back at you. Article from, you all saw that Mike Faher wrote where Rich was interviewed and John and Bill from the school department. So I didn't get any feedback from that. I checked the email several times a day for the media desk through the Wyndham Central server, and there's no comment, no feedback, no anything. So I'll be in touch with Mike and see what he has to say, if he's heard anything. There weren't any comments posted on the Vermont Digger. It was also posted on Vermont Digger, posted it, because he writes for 3 different papers, I think, and there were no comments there as of yesterday either. So I have to say, it seems like a non-issue at times that we're sitting here doing all this work and nobody's really, got the idea yet. It's a hot topic. So we're working on that. So my idea is that once these articles are solidified a little bit, I will send out another round of posters. There'll be another press release that goes out. There'll be a couple more comments from John and Rich and hopefully Mr. Anton saying, okay, here it is, come to the party now, read all this. And we'll get that out, and that'll be the next big jump thing. My deadline for the Bucketville News is day after tomorrow. So if you want anything in the December Bucketville News, I need it to know what that is. Whether it's just an announcement that says on such and such a day, if that's tonight, the articles are available for you to read, or if you want to start setting aside calendar dates for public outreach sessions or things. So again, those, as I've mentioned a couple times already, those deadlines are critical. So the next deadline for the Marlboro mixer is the 15th of December. The Bucketville News is the day after tomorrow, and then the Bucketville News is again the 15th of the month for December. Or actually, it'll probably be the 12th because of the Christmas holiday. It may end up being the 12th of December for the Bucketville News. So I'm eager to post the articles, and I'm eager to post the public outreach sessions that you may or may not be scheduling.
Okay, anybody have any questions?
I just want to apologize because Anita sent me The thing that came out, I think just today in the Marlboro Front Porch Forum, I looked it up, you sent it to me on Friday. I didn't get around to posting it with Front Porch Forum until Monday, and it took them until maybe last night, but sometime today, because I saw a couple of people saying, how come this isn't getting out? I'll do it as quickly as I can, but everybody should understand that Front Porch Forum is a couple days out also, and I don't quite understand.
Yeah, they don't publish every day. I think what they have is a trigger that when X number of posts are accumulated, that initiates an edition.
Well, I'll
And-
put a whole bunch of them in.
Right, well, I've been trying to post stuff like I need a cat or come to our reception for the knitting circle. So I've been trying to like create at least 3 posts at a time, hoping that would trigger so they're all mine. If you read the Wardsboro one, they're all mine.
Anyway, my apologies. I know at least one person had written in saying they wished they'd known more in advance, so I apologize to the Marlboro public.
Apology accepted.
On whose behalf?
I don't know.
Well,
Like Border Marlboro.
Yeah, I think Marlboro's more active on Front Porch than Wardsboro is. Wardsboro doesn't even have a lot of members and doesn't seem like people are posting stuff to it.
I
But
think-
we have the
You
Bucketville
got
News,
ours
so.
up, didn't you? Or Laura?
Front porch?
Yeah.
Or did it?
Laura did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know we had one.
I haven't been on
Dover,
front
so-
porch in probably 3 years, so,
there you go, yeah.
yeah, not a big fan of it.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to print out a lot of copies of this, right?
Yeah,
The
copies of
articles.
what?
No, is it all gonna be online or?
Yeah. I mean, if you can print up 100 copies, what are you gonna do with them?
I think it would, excuse me,
Yeah.
I think it would be wise to print a hard copy to leave at each school, in a
Yeah.
binder to
Well, the
leave
school,
at the
yeah.
town office, in a binder to leave at the library, in a binder. So for Wardsboro, that would be 3 copies. And,
I think once the articles are approved, I think it'll be up to the individual boards on how they get it out.
and the full document will be on the website. For
Yeah.
anybody to either download or read online, they can do both.
As long as they have access.
Because there are people who don't.
I know.
Access, which
Just-
not
I'm
everybody
sorry.
does.
Lucy, you had the floor. You had the floor, I couldn't hear
Yeah,
what you were saying.
no, I'm just commenting, as long as people have computer access, which a lot of people don't.
Anything else on communication? Anybody comments, questions?
Do you want to make it that if somebody requests a hard copy, you'll print one and mail it to them for some reason?
You know, I would say no, because I don't know who would be responsible for that.
I think you can find a compromise in this, Rich, and I think if we had 10 or a dozen at town offices and at schools and advise people if they wanted to get a hard copy to go there, I don't think that's excessive. A lot of people don't want to print out that much paper,
Yeah.
but if people want a hard copy, I think we need to make those available. Now, I
So
don't.
who would be responsible for that?
You have to choose a delegate from each town.
Yeah, somebody from each town can get them to their school or town office. I mean, that's not that hard to do.
And then if you have public information sessions, people will expect to have either it on a screen or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think on a screen, when we get to that point, we're gonna need that.
Yeah,
That's the easiest way
let's
to
see if
talk
we can
about
even
it.
get some articles that we all agree to. Could be a good point. But no, it's all well taken. I think when we get to the next phase, when we go to the selling it phase, then I think these discussions would be very appropriate. We could do that vibrant color again.
Do we wanna consider, dates at this point or do we wanna wait?
Well, we don't know what we're doing yet, so let's wait
I'm gonna give that
and
to Rich.
see.
I just didn't know if Anita
Oh,
wanted to,
that's
cause the
what I was saying.
Bucketville deadline is day after tomorrow, I didn't know if we wanted to at least have something on the docket for.
You know, let's see how we
Okay.
do tonight, so. Okay, I'm gonna move on to information from previous meetings that needs to be answered. And the last thing we had from that real long list we first had in Wardsboro was assets and debts of each school. And I sent that out to you guys all yesterday. And again, I don't have a hard copy because my hard copy is at my house. If anybody wants to go there and get it, that's fine.
You yeah, a little background on that. I worked with the business office and we looked at a bunch of different ways to do this. And every time we tried something, it seemed like we would end up with apples and oranges comparison. And so, what I'm proposing to you is that the assets and debits just be the audit from the end of 2015. And then that'll be updated when your new audits come in. But that seemed to me the only way that you really had a fair comparison that you could defend.
Go ahead, Randy. I'm sorry.
Just
you also-
because I'm out of the loop, what audit is that? Is that an annual audit that the?
Every school's required
Schools have to
to
do?
do an audit, so.
And who does that? Is it independent?
Well, Dover's, we have Sullivan
It's independent.
Towers. and
Okay.
You guys have, I think,
It's required now,
There's
but it'd be
two-
done by an independent auditor.
Most of them were done in the supervisory union by, and I forget the name of the auditor.
oh, it's a guy out of New York that Bud had hired, yeah.
But anyway, it's independent auditor.
Oh, versus you mean like the town auditors?
Yes.
Yeah.
A professional audit, it's a professional.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Versus like the business manager for the
Right, no,
supervisor.
exactly.
Yeah.
Is everybody okay with that? It seems to make sense because
Yeah.
those numbers are kind of a moving target through the year. Why don't we go back to Randy then the day of?
Well, are we gonna talk about these, or are we just,
Yeah, I mean.
because I
if
have
you
a,
want-
just,
Go ahead.
John, it seemed, the replacement value line is left blank. Was that because we can't get numbers for that, or are we still working on it, or?
That's a title, so I need to make that so it looks more,
Oh, I got you. Okay.
actually, it goes with the, I wish I had printed this right. It's really the second,
Second part of.
yeah, it's building and
Buildings and
furnishings
furnish.
insured replacement value.
Okay,
It's-
that's what I thought.
So when it gets printed again,
Oh.
I'll make
I got
sure
it,
it's.
I got
one.
it. So it should be in that field or that row.
Yes,
I got it, okay. It didn't make sense to me.
yeah,
What we were at
no,
with
it wouldn't, all right. My bad on that.
You all set, Randy?
that, I guess. Yeah.
So I may be a little bit out of the loop as well. Does that audit at the end of the year take into account the assets, debts, and money in the bank
Yes.
as well?
Yes.
So if a school district is sitting on a bond issue, then that's included in its net value at the end of the
Yes.
audit? Okay,
That's
all.
under the line, the liabilities,
Right, okay.
Everybody see this?
Yeah.
You see it?
or in this case, long-term debt.
Randy, do you have a copy of that? A hard copy? Can we just, did anybody not see the asset list that we're talking about? Did anybody not see it? Cause we've got one we can. Okay. Any more discussion on it?
Again, in the interest of coming clean, the Marlboro School Board voted the other night to put a pellet system in here, which means some short-term debt, but it actually, there's so much money saving through it that by the time 5 years is down the road, the school district, whoever owns this building, will actually be ahead of themselves. But everybody should know that we are going to incur about another $100,000 of debt. Less than that, 70, I think, is what it is, the net. But the savings are
And by the
about
time- yeah.
$18,000 a year, so,
Part of the Wyndham Wood Haven initiative.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of grant money for it, so that'll be
Yeah.
less than that, but.
so I don't know where that fits into this equation. It's a
We
good
will have
investment,
a-
it's a
yeah.
great investment if
Well,
we end up being the
What,
same.
what we did is just because it's hard to compare apples to apples and because things float through the year, this is the end of FY 2015.
Mhm.
So not everybody's audits are done from FY
year.
2016 and we're currently in FY 2017. So it's just something to kind of look at. I know in Dover, our capital reserve isn't as high as that shows there currently, but, it's just, we had to pick a spot that, so,
So then that,
I'm dug at it, Randy.
so that would also include then the bond that we had paid off last year, right?
It might possibly.
No, I don't think they have a bond, do they?
There were no debts.
It showed us zero
Yeah, no
debts.
debts.
That's
because we paid
Because we paid it off.
Right,
Yeah.
nobody
This
showed
is
any,
2 years ago.
We
paid
paid
off
it.
last year.
That
well,
was the
nobody
end
showed,
of-
nobody showed any debt in the audit, because if you paid it off during that year, it would show us no debt, because it's what you're carrying forward.
It was 2 years ago, because last year it was 2 years ago.
Time flies when you're having fun, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
I just don't wanna let this drop. We talked about it a couple meetings ago, and I don't think it needs to be in the articles, but we don't wanna lose sight of what the capital needs are for each of the buildings, because we are gonna get asked that. And Dan makes a good point bringing it up about the pellet heater. We are gonna get asked that by voters, you know. What's the life of the roof on each of the buildings? Those kinds of things we're gonna need when we talk to the voters, because that's only fair to them, that they know what the anticipated replacement costs of certain things are.
Why do you think we're talking with you guys about merging? We've got a real
Well, heck
serious
yeah.
roof problem.
I thought it was that purple paint your building needed.
Didn't you
No,
mention?
we're voting for a new color.
Right.
Right, there you go.
Vibrant
Randy, you all set?
Well, I had another thought, but I lost
We'll
it,
we
so
can come back to
I'll
you.
come back to it, yeah.
But
I thought it was mentioned that there are capital plans that each town has currently, or there's.
Not that I could find.
Okay.
We have
Maybe
one
each,
in-
maybe a school board may have one.
School
but-
board, yeah. I thought each one already had.
Yeah, it was kind of mentioned.
I remember it
The-
being
I
mentioned.
told you that, but you said you didn't wanted it from the central office, and I told you they didn't have it.
Oh.
Okay, moving along.
All right.
Randy,
No, I'm
good?
good.
Okay. Any other talks on the assets and debts of each school? Cool. Work on articles. Look at that, guys. We got to it early, even though we started late. So, I emailed to everybody late last night because I didn't get it until sometime yesterday, and when I got home, I sent it right out. Like, when you were in school and the teacher asked you, okay, who really did their homework? So who actually really read those 27 pages of articles? And
Nice.
Chip is bowing his head. I actually even printed them, and I have them, and I printed them on scrap paper.
Me too.
But they're home. Let's go there.
Yeah.
So, what I'd like to do is the first section of that, the articles, is kind of the summary of what we've done. And I think we had that pretty well hammered out last meeting. We're in Wardsboro, we're pretty much in agreement.
Yeah.
Is there anything that anybody, thank you, is there anything that anybody saw in the
We're
kind
talking
of the
about the
review?
report.
Right, the 27-page report.
I broke it into
Oh,
two
you wrote it.
sections.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Just because my stapler wouldn't.
Yep.
put all together.
I had one question.
Okay. Shoot, Dan.
It has to do, John, you will probably be able to say this right off the top of your head. And I can't tell you exactly what page it's on right now. It has to do with per pupil costs. And I wasn't sure whether the ones that were K through 6 were Marlboro's K through 6 or Marlboro's aggregated K through 8.
It says PK through 6 and PK through 8.
Or
It's
K
page
through 8.
27, Dan. Is that
Yeah.
the one you're talking about?
Yeah, but it seems to me that Marlboro should be compared there for its K through 6 rather than its K through 8.
Yes, the difficulty
Yeah.
is pulling out what the 7 and 8 expenses are.
Yeah, I think it's all, by the time you get down to the bottom line there, it's pre-K through 12 equalized per pupil anyway. So
Yeah.
if that's not an easy thing to get, then just leave it the way
And,
it is.
and we've brought that up before, and I know that, I think it was in this building when we were upstairs one time, and that was his difficulty, is it's, you can't do that. Or it would be kind of like more of a guesstimate, right, you said?
No, very much, and pretty much what that per pupil spending tells you is just in general, what are you investing in students? So it's not a number that you have to take to the bank.
No, it's fair enough, I was just wondering about that.
Okay, any other, yes, Randy?
Page 17 of the articles. I just, it seems something, Article 11 and Article 12 seem to have a conflict to me in them. And maybe we can look at it again. And that is, on Article 11, third bullet point down, we've got consideration of offering the voters the option of using floor vote for future budget adaptations, which I think is great. And then Article 12 says pretty clearly, the annual budget vote shall be conducted by Australian ballot combining the total votes in the member towns. So are those two in conflict with each other? We kind of danced around this at the last meeting.
Yeah, so what can happen is, at an annual meeting, by Australian ballot, the district could vote to change it from Australian ballot to floor vote.
Okay.
And, I mean, I agree with you. I think the consideration of offering could go away very easily. I mean, actually, I don't know if I'm agreeing with you or not, but,
No, that's
because I
kind of
don't know what
disagreeing.
you're saying. Because
I like the idea
the
of
committee
floor vote.
wanted to have that in there, but
Yeah.
it does create a confusion piece.
So is that something we'll get tripped up on when this goes up to the state?
I don't think so. They looked at it the first time,
This
and
was
just
more or
asked
less
the
in there,
clarification
yeah.
question.
Hang on
I
a
thought I
second.
remembered, oh, sorry. Yeah.
I got one more thing, but if
Well,
Lucy's question is on this item, then let's stay on this one.
Yeah, well, it was still on this item. I
Yeah,
thought I
okay.
remembered, maybe it was way back, that you could vote once whether to bring it up as a floor vote.
That's what I think this
And
article's
then-
trying to
and
say,
then
that
that was
the
it.
board could decide, the new board could decide whether or not to bring it forward to be voted on, so.
But
and
just that
we
one
had that-
time.
We had that discussion.
Tell me what you
in
mean by
Wardsboro.
just one time. I don't understand that.
Then it's more or less set in stone.
Yes,
That's the way it's gonna
yes,
go.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well, hang on a second, Dan. Is this on the
Same
same
topic.
topic? Okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I thought we voted unanimously to have the budgets approved by a floor vote, not an Australian
But
ballot.
we were told we couldn't do it. The
Okay.
first one had to be Australian ballot.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And then it's up
Yeah.
to the new board, and that's
Yeah.
where we were, there was a little bit of confusion, and John had to confirm some stuff for us.
Okay.
So is everybody okay on that topic? I know we had a lot of discussion about it last time. All set? Yes, sir?
When you said new board, did you mean newly formed board?
Yes.
Newly formed board would then set the rules.
Right. Or they don't set the rules, it would have to be voted on, but they could decide to bring it to the people to vote on. And that's one of the things, when we say the new board, if this is approved and voted on in the affirmative, then there'll be a new group of people that will be hammering out the details.
We could call it the unified board, that may be as a way to just talk about it.
You're gonna trip me up, aren't you? Will it be a
What can I say?
vibrant uniform?
I get paid by the number of times I trip you up.
Randy, your next item,
Yeah,
sir.
page 18, the very bottom of Article 14, we have a line in the, we have a line, in the event a town elects not to acquire ownership of such real property, the unified district shall, pursuant to Vermont statutes, sell the property upon such terms and conditions as established by the board.
The unified board.
Yeah. I have some concerns about that, because that's exactly the stumbling block that Wilmington, Whitingham, and the Twin Valley District are tripping over themselves with right now. Can we just take that particular sentence out of there, so basically the building would have to go back to the town?
I tried that the first time
They
with the
didn't
state,
like it.
and they did not like
They
that.
they sort of need to have that option in there.
As well as the next paragraph of the town using it for, or one of the paragraphs, using it for a public service.
Yeah, which actually, I like that part of it, because then it takes away any discussion about, well, what are we gonna do with the building? Well, you're gonna have to do something for the public good for at least 5 years before you decide whether to sell it to a, condo developer or whatever. Okay, so that line does have to stay.
I can ask if there's any way around.
Because if I remember, I think the first I saw this was at the last meeting when we were talking about,
That showed you Chittenden South.
yeah, Chittenden South.
Yeah, this is basically Chittenden South.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So which is the line, what is it that you're really interested in taking out?
The very last sentence of Article 14, in the event a town elects not to acquire ownership, et cetera, et cetera.
So it's pursuant to Vermont statute, so it's gonna be whatever the law is at the time that they go to try to sell it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if a town votes to close a building, the last thing you wanna do is leave that building in the hands of whatever future school board is running the district. because there are so many expenses tied to that building that would inflate a budget. And again, you can look at what's going on with Twin Valley right now and see it firsthand how it's not working very well. You wanna get that out of the district ASAP. So if you take that line out, then it forces the building to go back to the town, and then the town has to deal with it, which is where it should be dealt with.
I'm just not sure you can force the town to take it.
If the voters approve the articles, they've agreed to it.
Well, I guess that's,
So you're not really forcing them.
yeah, the voters are saying, okay,
I mean,
well, let's try it.
can-
I'll float it
Well,
and
hang on,
see.
folks.
Maybe I'm off base on this, but just thinking, like, currently, isn't the building a town building anyway?
No.
No, not in the eyes of the state
Not
and
in the
and
eye.
the two town governments.
In your case, the town owns the land, we were told, but the school district
School
owns the
district,
building. And when
oh.
you built it, you probably got some money from the state to build
Okay.
a school, not to build a,
Community
well,
center.
right. Dan?
Well, I guess I was gonna say, Randy, and I think, once again, I think it's kind of the same stuff we went over the last time around. I don't know exactly what's happening in Wilmington, but I don't think either the Wardsboro or the Dover or the Marlboro School are quite in that same category. They're not gonna become a white elephant, I don't think anyway. And if the board wants to sell them, they would be the appropriate people to be doing it, it seems to me. Close it down and accept the responsibility to get it to the
I
next
just,
owner, so.
and I agree with you, I don't think they would be the same, but I think let me rephrase this. I know of two towns that have closed buildings, Bennington with their old Mount Anthony Middle School, and Wilmington with the old Twin Valley High School. Both of those buildings are just sitting,
And
I don't think we want that.
I'm
If we're
gonna
gonna get,
disagree
and
with
I hope
you.
we never have to get to that point,
Yeah.
you know, but why tie a future board's hands if we don't have to?
Well, then, if we're gonna do that, then I would say that we should remove the stipulation that it be for public use for the next 5 years, because that's tying the town's hand, and that would be an unfair thing.
I think that's
Say,
a fair
You gotta
compromise.
buy this,
Yeah.
but you have to,
Yeah.
you can't then turn it
I think
around
that's
for
fair
5 years.
compromise.
But I think we checked into that, and you said that we had to do that, didn't we?
But let's try it again.
Okay. And the only other.
This is the fallback, what's in here, I think, is the fallback.
And we can leave that if we get totally shut down.
The other thing, I just want, where you're saying that you think the buildings are different, think about what would you ever do with this building if you were to close it? What would we ever do with the Dover building? Because, I think Wardsboro's got the best building to do something with, it could become a really nice big house for somebody with their own gym. But, it's something, houses sell for that. I know houses sell for what our buildings are valued at, but there's a lot less people with that kind of money.
No, I
And
just,
it's-
I don't think that, I think they would have some value. I don't think they would have a negative value, essentially,
No.
is what I'm saying.
Okay, and I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Because I think some of the Wilmington thing too is just the old building is such in bad disrepair. No, okay.
You could argue that, yeah, but I don't think that's the real issue.
Are we good with the school closing thing? Is everybody okay with that?
So to review, we're gonna try to remove those and see what we can get from the state on that. And the school closing is the town has to approve. You had said you wanted to keep that in.
Yeah.
Absolutely correct.
I think we were very strong with that.
Yep.
Okay, Randy, anything else, sir?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Page 19, second paragraph. This is about,
Families of 3, 4, and 5-year-olds?
yes, not enrolled in kindergarten, and it's more than I was confused, so I made a note to ask the question. So, won't the new district operate its own pre-K program?
Doesn't matter.
Not necessarily. They might or they might not.
So that would not necessarily be mandated by current law?
What they have to do is, it's more like a voucher system now. The new law has really changed things a lot.
So this is based on what current law
Current law.
allows. So even though I live in Dover, and Dover has a pre-K program, I could actually go to another town and take that
Exactly.
money
And we
with
have
me.
to pay for it.
And you have to pay for it, okay, I guess I didn't really understand that.
Yeah.
So then, never mind.
Anything else for me?
And if you were unified, anyone else in the union could come to the Dover program. Could go.
Right,
Yeah.
that part I get, and I think you'd want that,
Yeah.
and I think that's on my notes.
Okay, is there any other people with comments, thoughts, ideas? Hang on, man. I usually do the board first. Is anybody else from the board?
Yes. I have a couple of things.
Okay, you got the floor.
Okay. Going all the way back up to Article 2,
What page?
page 14. I'm just wondering if we need to go into or clarify about paying tuition for our 7th through 12th graders, as far as clarifying state averages, because I know Dover currently pays more than the state average. So I don't
So
know.
my comment on that would be that has to be voted on each year, and so that law will still be there. So we can't go against statute, is my understanding in our articles.
Right.
So the fallback is you will pay the statewide average tuition if you don't maintain a school, or
Right.
another amount voted on by the
Right.
electorate
Right.
at the annual meeting, so
Right.
it's there.
It's
So
So-
what Dover currently does would in no way impact what the new district would do.
Because it would have to be brought up at the meeting and be approved at the annual meeting of the unified board, the unified district, unified board. The unified board would have to bring it up at the meeting of the first meeting,
okay.
okay, and that's on this topic?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
You wanna take the white first?
No, just the same topic. It has to be voted on every year, right?
Right, that's what the law says.
Yeah.
I would think it'd be part of the budget. They would just put it as
No,
part of the budget.
no,
It's a
the
separate- a
statute
separate
says it
article.
has to be voted on.
So is that, do you want that by Australian ballot? Right
Well, I
now,
don't
it's a floor vote.
Yeah.
From what.
Well,
from
it'll
what
be
you
however,
put in there.
however you vote, I mean, I don't remember how specific the statute is as to how you vote on it, but.
All right, so I'll double check this to make
Okay.
sure we've got this.
I just wanted it to be really clear
Yeah.
because of the
Right.
differences
Yeah.
between the towns currently and how much they pay and how they
Right.
come to that, so just
Okay,
trying to figure out.
let me just
what we
hit
need to-
Randy.
Well, I wanna echo what she says. I think it will be a real stumbling block in Dover. I don't know quite how to put this, to not have some language in there to just make people aware that it will have to be voted on an annual basis.
Yeah, I think you should.
I don't know, can you put that in there, John, or does it? I mean, I know you can explain it.
Couldn't we just, as per state
But I-
statute, the
yeah, but I
tuition
think-
rate will be,
Yeah,
That will go along, after I listened to my wife for a half an hour go off about this the other day. It would go a long
we're
way.
on TV and she's.
It's okay, she knows.
so that's
She
gonna be.
wanted me to bring this up, and I forgot to bring it up, so I'm glad Selena did.
As per state statute,
Well, it's gonna be down
Yeah, for you,
more in the
Randy.
voting piece, but,
okay. And you'll highlight that so everybody can see that it's in there.
yeah.
Okay, so is that good for
Yeah,
you?
as long as it says something about to be voted on per state statute on an annual basis, or blah,
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah,
We'll
just
figure out
being
the
like
wording.
super clear about it.
Yeah, be really clear about it.
Was that your same issue, Dwayne? or-
Well, yeah, similar, I mean, how is it exactly, will it be voted on the same way
It'll have to be against the same way the budget.
Same way as budget, so I don't know if you put that in there or not.
Well, it would have to be a separate article, right?
Separate article.
Yeah,
Yeah. Just like we do now.
yeah, because it says the electorate has to vote on that specific thing.
And I think everybody will understand that, but I also think they're gonna wanna see some protection in there. Because just to be clear, everybody knows Dover right now pays more than the statewide average. They pay the Burton tuition rate.
Let's don't try to go there.
Okay,
Well, technically up to the Burton tuition.
Well, right, up to, or more if it's a public school, but.
Right.
well, that's
But
what the
that's a-
statute
So you're not
says.
taking out of
Different
pocket
state
to say your kid
statute.
Burton.
No, it's in the same statute.
I get a little bit more to send my kid to
You
Middlesex.
have to pay whatever
Brattleboro
public
is more.
at high school
Or the
tuition
state
is
average.
either child wants to go
We used to
to,
pay just the state average.
or the statewide average for a private or independent school, or any amount voted on by the electorate.
Oh,
I
no,
think
that's
we
right.
discussed it
It's
so
the
many
state
times,
average
I
goes
was
to the
mesmerized.
Yeah, we have.
Right, right.
It's
Are
still,
you-
it's gonna
I
be
think it's
really
important to put
important.
in there.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So John's gonna work on that, he'll highlight that so we can see it.
Yep.
You still have the floor, ma'am.
Okay, let's see. Again, I guess I was just looking for clarity under Article 3 in transportation. Isn't our transportation, I'm trying to recall, last year when Steve and John came to us and we had to go through a transportation contract process per a certain state statute.
Yeah,
So I don't, again, wanting to have clarity because transportation contracts need to be it's not something that like the new unified board
We
is
we
necessarily.
discussed that at the last
I
meeting.
know I wasn't there, so.
No, I know, so I was just gonna bring you up to speed, because we talked about that, and so what we said was all transportation will be at the unified boards.
Mhm.
It's actually
Will
the
continue to be
supervisory
provided
union.
through, yeah.
No, we told you we wanted that changed. I thought you changed
But
that.
I think the state statute says it has to go through the
Right,
Has to
SU.
go through this.
No, you said it was the existing,
We added this policies currently
Yeah, organization.
existing, or is
Okay.
maybe.
because they still have to file the waiver
Right.
Yeah, we
for,
have
on
that.
behalf of.
Okay,
Right.
so
Two
that's,
schools, yeah.
that's there, sorry.
I just wanted to make sure that was really clear.
Yeah,
Again, just looking for clarity, because it didn't feel very clear to me.
okay. Was that it?
So, no.
Oh, keep- Is there any more comments on transportation? Good, move on.
I didn't know if, let's see, where am I? There was one that I wasn't sure needed to be two articles, two separate things.
That was in the, you had it in the school closing and that article. You had made a comment that we.
Thank you. Oh, yes.
With that.
Should this, the school choice and school continuity, should this be two separate articles, closing a school versus maintaining school choice and merging districts?
Which article is this?
Split Article 4, the question is split Article 14.
Yeah, splitting Article
into
14
two.
and making
Okay.
it either like Article 14A, 14B, or just doing two different articles. Because, I don't know, it just felt like there were two separate things to me. You know, if you're talking about school choice, that's one thing, and then if you're talking about operating grades,
I would say split it. If that's okay with people.
Does anybody have a problem with splitting it? So you can have an article that has one sentence?
No, it has.
it has a whole bunch
No,
of.
the first article will be the school choice, unified district will pay tuition, and then the rest of it is a separate article now,
No,
you said,
no, that's,
right?
no, the next part,
The next
that
part
part is
goes,
still part of 14, here you can
Yeah.
see here. Those would go together, and then in the event, would
Yeah.
start a new article. Is the
it's doing a
suggestion.
little bit of cutting and
Yeah.
pasting, but
Okay.
it all,
Okay, so it would split after the unified
Yeah,
school
it is
district.
kinda in there twice.
That makes sense.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm just wondering, it's.
It's also in Article 2 about.
So we just talked about in
tuition.
Article 2, it seems the same
Mhm.
wording is in Article 2 as, and is in Article 14.
See here,
oh, with the grades included. So could you combine the grades included with continuity?
I think it should be repeated.
Yeah.
Simply because, in both cases, you want to address both secondary kids and elementary kids.
We'll just need to be certain it's the same.
Yeah.
obviously. So,
Okay. The Department of Redundancy Department.
yeah, right, we don't wanna make it say two different things. Right?
no, they're saying the exact same
It's the
thing.
exact
Yeah.
same thing twice, okay.
Well, the first one
Mhm.
says we'll offer education in the grades, and the second one
Ah,
just says we'll pay.
hey, one is offering, one is paying, okay.
Right. Okay,
So.
are we good with that then? Nobody has a problem splitting those?
You're talking about 14?
Yeah,
Oh,
okay, so go ahead, that's okay, sir?
The only other question I had, and maybe this was addressed at the last meeting, for Articles 6 and 7, talking about resources and property, I know that there's another piece in here that has like the graph. Is there, for like having a list of all the resources, the assets and so forth, like do we need to reference those and say,
See
this list
Appendix
is,
B,
yeah,
or
see,
is
There's
whatever it is.
there's another thing we have to submit that's this little template,
uh-huh,
and
It does all
it
that.
lists them.
okay.
Um,
We don't need to necessarily reference
We had a lot
them
more
directly
in
the-
6 and 7, and the feedback was, don't do all that stuff,
uh-huh.
just put this, and I'm gonna be really interested to see if this is really gonna
See if
satisfy
they take
them.
it.
Because
I
they
feel
told
like
you to
a
remove it.
little pink, well, they told me not to reference reference this the way I was referencing it, which was what Frank had done a long time ago, but anyway, we'll see. It's boilerplate, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
So even
So
just putting
we're gonna
something
do it
there
by-
that
fancy
says
in it.
like
We just have to
see-
satisfy them.
Right. I'm just thinking of people reading, I mean, thinking of public reading this, I guess that's where I'm coming from, is, you know, the public might not read all 27 pages, but they might sit down and try and digest the actual articles. So if they wanna see what the resources that are had at each school, if it's just one little blip that says, see appendix, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, I think we'd be better off listing the buildings in Article 7
Uh-huh,
than doing, in the article, than doing see this.
okay,
I'm happy to list the buildings, if that would
Okay.
be.
And basically, it's
that might be
everything.
clear, yeah.
I mean, it's,
No, I know, but I'm just, like I said, I'm thinking of public reading this.
Yeah.
So that's the chart that's at the bottom of page 10, is that assets and debts as of June 30th, 2015.
That's the transfer of resources part, but I wouldn't wanna include all those again, 'cause especially since they're gonna change.
Right, okay, so just building and land values essentially is that.
And I wouldn't put the values in, it would just list the buildings. Because the values, you've got 3 different sets of values for these things.
Right, no, I think just the building is fine.
okay, so is everybody okay with that? I heard some yeas or ayes or yeses. Okay. Any more, ma'am?
I haven't, sorry.
You got the floor for a
Okay,
while.
I just had a question, and maybe again, this was something I missed last week, but, in Article 9, talking about the new board will organize in May 2017. I guess I don't understand how the new board will be elected by next spring if
Because when you
this-
put these articles in front of people, you also have to have people on the ballot to be
So
elected to the new board.
we need to find board members who are willing to run this coming.
You need to find community members who are willing to run.
That's what I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, sorry,
for the board,
Thank you for
for the
clarifying me.
unified board.
yes.
Yeah,
So,
that's right in Act 46.
Yeah, yeah.
okay,
Yeah, that's actually in all unified union development for the state, it's been that way for a long time.
okay. I guess I missed that somewhere. That it would happen that fast, okay.
Okay, last chance.
Hold on.
And we know she read it because she was reviewing it for John.
I think my other questions have been answered. I'm done.
Okay, well, we come
I'm
back
done.
to you. Dwight, did you wanna?
No, I'm good. There's one thing, I just blew up.
Anybody else on the board, so we can go to public?
I have extra pen.
I'm good.
Okay, Lucy, no, you're not, you're Anita, that's Lucy.
I'm speaking as the public. Is
Yeah.
it conceivable that there could be a run on one school that just makes it so that not everybody can get in that school that year and they have to wait till the next year
Yeah,
or
we
something?
discussed that at the last meeting.
And what was what did you decide? That school then has to what, put in trailers
The
for
board,
classes?
no, the board has to, the unified board will come up with a policy and procedures and for the movement of students, and there'll be some preferences we left. I think preferences were to where you live, what school you went to the year before, and we also, somebody wanted to include
Siblings.
siblings.
All right.
Yeah.
I did hear that at the last meeting, but I didn't know
That
that
got
there
in
was
there.
it goes to the new board to decide.
That was
Because you
my-
might have to,
Subject to space.
yeah, end up running a lottery or something to pick kids
Well,
where you.
the new unified board
The
will
new board
decide
would do
what
that.
that
Thank
is,
you.
you know,
That was-
maybe it's,
Part, I just wondered.
yes.
Has it been said, or maybe I missed it, but are the articles gonna go out for any type of public comment period, so you guys get feedback from the
Yeah,
community?
that's,
Or is it just going out as this is our final draft?
Well, that could be a discussion that we can have right now, sir.
Oh, okay. I just feel like with any type of giant legislation, it's 27-page document. You
Let
want people to
me
digest
hold
it.
that discussion after we review the articles, and then let's bring that up, okay?
Okay.
If that's okay with you? Okay, so, public review. Okay, so is there any other discussion on the articles themselves? Okay,
The thing that gets sent to the state would be the conclusions and,
the whole thing, right?
The whole thing.
Whole thing.
okay.
Okay, Carol Ann
Your letter.
wrote a very nice, like I said, long thing. We're not, since everybody got to see it, we're not gonna read it. But if I could summarize maybe the crux of it, or if maybe you wanna summarize it. You know, I think Carol was suggesting that we be more specific in certain areas to show where where student, where it's a benefit for students or it's better for students. Is that?
Yeah, what, you guys were talking about the summary and the conclusions and the pros and the cons. And Anita has been reminding us, and Randy has been reminding us that the articles need to be written in a way that we're mindful of how the public's going to read it. And the public, I don't think, cares as much about policy as they do about what's it mean for me and my child. So I put a lot of time and thought into how we can approach this with half-full thinking, some positive thinking, as to what the benefits could be for students and children and families. So it isn't, the articles aren't just about where the contract is for the bus and how you sell the school if you have to, and if there's a lottery to get into a school, or, but what does the actual programming look like potentially? What are the benefits of this Act 46 as it relates to what the child can experience in the school, not just policy, because it's so heavy on that. So that's what it's all about. And I put forth not a ton, but a number of different ideas on what those benefits could be.
So you're asking for a grocery list?
Yeah, Anita, hang on, to be recognized, please, because
Sorry.
Randy was first. Now back to you.
Well, because I read that again tonight before I came over here, and first of all, thank you, because there's some really great stuff in there. But I keep thinking about this overall process, almost like a real estate transaction in reverse. Because like when you buy a house, I assume most of us here bought at least one, maybe not, but anyway. First, you see the ad in the newspaper, or you get the real estate brochure, and you say, wow, that looks like a great house, I gotta go look at it. And then you walk through it and you say, oh man, I really like some of this. I like the granite countertops, or I like the International Baccalaureate program. It's kind of the same thing. And then you write the purchase and sale contract, or your real estate agent does. And we're kind of doing the purchase and sale contract first, and then we're gonna go back and come up with the sizzle after we've got the stake done. So I don't know if it all needs to be in the articles. It's gotta be somewhere. I totally agree with
An
that.
addendum somewhere.
Addendum, to go back to my real estate analogy, maybe it's a sales brochure, or maybe it's the conclusion. I don't know where we put it. I agree it has to be out there somewhere. I'm just not sure it all has to be shoehorned into the articles.
Well, I like to talk.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, it's like, I think all Marlboro parents know is that if this merger happens, Marlboro loses its junior high. That's all they know.
And that's the wrong way to try to sell.
And that's the only thing they know.
No,
Well,
you wanna go with a half full glass.
I'm just saying, when I'm out in the
So-
community and people ask me how it's
So I can do
going,
the half full class. Marlboro students are gonna get school choice now.
it's exactly right. But they don't see it that way.
And I'm not saying that's right or wrong, or I'm agreeing or disagreeing, but
Mm.
one of the comments is, we started off, one of the first meetings, I remember our co-chair said, one of the good things about this is Wardsboro's gonna get Spanish. And I said to myself, well, not really, because we don't know what we're gonna have. Maybe we won't have Spanish, maybe we'll have Latin, or maybe we'll have German, or maybe
Right.
So, one of the big things that's come up through all this, and I know when even the comments John got back, again, I always see this tying of the hands, and I don't know who up in Montpelier gets tied up all the time, but they always say, don't wanna tie the hands of the board, you don't wanna tie the hands of a future board. And that's why, when people have asked me, what is this specifically gonna look like? And it's hard to say, I can't tell you what it's gonna look like, cause it's not my decision. It's gonna be the unified board, new unified board's decision to bring, and then the voters are gonna have to say whether or not they approve that. And it's kind of like Randy's analogy, maybe it's like, you've already let the horse out of the barn, now you're trying to make the best of it and hope that you do good with it. So it is a hard thing to do.
Right, and which is why I was pretty careful, or at least I meant to be careful, and this is why it takes hours to write something like that, is I didn't say it will, I said it could. Here are possible ideas. Here's things to think about. I mean, if we had to say, use it on umbrella thinking, we could say, think of it as a cross-cultural, cross-town exchange of ideas and opportunities. And that's as nebulous as you get, but at least it's positive in its tone.
And I think all that could be in the study, in the conclusions. The committee conclusions could be your vehicle for doing all this.
I'm just saying something somewhere.
1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it should be somewhere in the articles, but I think it should be actually in an article. And we were able to figure out, you know, how school attendance, and basically we put that onto the board, that they have to provide for it. We didn't exactly say how. And I think it should be an article. We should provide for opportunities for the children, but leave it up to the school board to determine how those opportunities are provided. If it's buried in the back in a conclusion, I don't think it needs to be acted upon for the next board. If it's in an article, then the school board, it puts an onus on them to make sure opportunities for all children are recognized. So I would argue it should be in an article.
Okay, Hank, I got Lucy, Randy, and then Doug. Anita, Lucy's over there.
Twice, Rich.
Where's your name tags go?
Where's your name tag?
I left them
I kinda get what Dwight is saying, and I totally get what Carol's saying. So the place for this maybe, for the public, is to refer them back to the principal presentations. Because your principals worked really hard, and they gave really good presentations. And they talked about the benefits of each of their schools. So in terms of, you don't think they did?
They did, but it isn't like, well, how do we borrow? How do we cross-pollinate? How can we think about the benefits of?
But that's exactly the sentence. So based on the presentations that the committee heard from the 3 principals, we see in their presentations these kinds of opportunities for what you said, cross-cultural, cross-pollinations. And it came out of those presentations more than anything I think that you've done. I mean, you really couldn't go sit in every classroom in every school for a day and come to those conclusions. Those principals did it for you. And they gave you valuable information about really the best of each of their schools. And anything that the public can learn from watching those presentations, I think would cheer them up and make them very happy about everything. There was nothing negative in any of those presentations. They were all excellent.
Okay, Randy.
Yeah, I think, for me, when I boil down what Carol Ann's talking about, people easily can understand what they might lose. And I think between the things we've talked about here and the things, particularly you folks from Marlboro, have already agreed to, at least for this exercise, in terms of giving up K through 8, those things are pretty clear what they could lose, which would be possibly you might lose your building. You might lose your 8th grade and your 7th grade. You might lose your educational program that you have now because those are unknowns. So how do we distill down in a simple way the things you could gain? I think that's really the exercise we got to go through to get to that point of what Carol Ann's trying to say. And I don't know how easy we're going to do that. I mean, John sort of had it in the draft of his conclusions with, I noted it as pros and cons, you called it as something else, but, maybe that's a starting point. But if we're going to do that, I think we need to. I think we need to make it so people can get their arms around some of this stuff. And I don't think we've done a good job of that yet.
So my question is completely in relation to that, and it's more of, you've got the assets, you've got the money, you've got what's owned where, who's going to be voting, how many people are going to be on that. And that to me is all the technicality, but the reason for Act 46 and what you're going to be even approved on, I think when you put it in front of the AOE, is how are you creating opportunities for kids? And I don't hear that. I think I kind of echo that.
Let me have,
Caroline.
I'll get to you in a second, let me let John as our consultant.
So there's a couple places. I mean, I think the conclusion is one place to do it. And, you know, we can put it there. The other place is in Article 5, if you really want it in articles. You could make a list of all the things you want the board to attend to. And it could just be a bulleted list of, what's that?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not being specific. I think if you put it in an article, you need to put the onus on the next board that they need to find ways to provide the opportunities that, for students within the district. Now, to be specific would make.
Okay,
a lot of
I'm just
sense.
saying Article 5 is a place to
So-
do that, is
Yeah,
all I'm
Let's, well,
saying.
but, and just,
If you wanted to do
So I think it
it.
should be in two places. Obviously, I'm sorry.
just real quick, but let me get back. Article 5 says, the forming districts recognize their obligations, standardize curricular outcomes, and otherwise standardize their operations. But it says, you know, have their own particular strengths and cultures to develop and foster learning. The purpose of curriculum alignment is to have the common goal for student learning. I mean, that kind of says where you're.
Well, not exactly. I think it doesn't say that there's a kind of cross-pollination of schools. In other words, they can, some of the things that are offered in some schools could be offered in other schools, that kind of thing.
But it could.
does, But it could.
Yeah, we could put that in there.
Right.
She had her hand
First?
up.
Yeah.
And then back to you.
To me, a lot of what is, just throwing this out there, sounds like we need a mission statement or an impact statement,
Or a vision
a
statement.
vision statement
I think it's a vision statement.
to set out, you know, as the introduction to the articles. This is our vision. And these are the articles that will inform the new unified board and how to achieve the vision of schools that have the ability to cross-pollinate, to share resources, to do all of the things that we all hold very dear and want and have those opportunities for our kids. Is it, I don't know if that's something the state would like to see, but does it matter? Can
not
we
gonna
do it
matter.
anyway?
It doesn't matter, if you wanna do it, that could be the very beginning of the Articles of Agreement. You can just say that, make that statement.
Well, because, I mean, it's unusual because we really have to sort of serve two masters here. First is getting this approved by the state, which really is, John, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's more technical steak, if you will, than sizzle. And then you gotta get it to the voters, and if you really believe in this, and you wanna get it approved by the voters, or at least have a shot, then you gotta develop some sizzle for it. I don't know if they all need to be in the same place, maybe they do, maybe they don't.
So what's your take on that, Boss?
If they're in the articles and in the report, that's fine, but my experience with the public's gonna hear is what you say to them at the information meetings.
Yes.
And if you've got those kinds of things that you lead with in the information meetings, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't have them in the articles either. And there's nothing you're talking about putting in here that's gonna hurt you at the state level at all.
Let's put it in.
That's fine, it's not gonna.
Put it in.
My job in writing the articles has been just to make sure you have all the pieces that they need you to have. If you wanna put more in,
But we tried to put more in some of them, and they told you that it should come out.
Well, then I think we need to stick with making a vision statement, because then it's a guiding tool for the new board. Like, just like on all of our agendas, we have our mission at the top of our agendas every meeting. Why can't the new board take that vision statement and do the same thing?
And make their own mission from that.
From the vision statement that
I
we're
did
creating.
Tell Doug I would get to him.
Sorry.
I just need, it's more of a clarifying question, but you are just submitting the Articles of Agreement, or do you have other documents alongside that? Because when I look to our neighbors and their declining of, you know, the merger, it was all about, you're not showing us how you're, you know, creating opportunities for kids. And I'm even thinking something along the lines of Carol Ann, where you have not false, but like, look, an example would be Marlboro offers this, and if we offered that elsewhere, it would be then offered to X many kids, thereby lowering the cost and expanding opportunities. Something along those lines. Is there not like some kind of like something you guys are working on that's going alongside of
It's
this?
the whole 28-page document. There's 4 pages of input from the principals and the administrators about those things. That's in one of the attachments. There's a little bit of things that this committee said they wanted to highlight. So there could be more of those things. There could be a vision, but it's the whole kit and caboodle that goes to the state.
But it's not just articles of agreement. It's
Correct.
other things. Okay.
What's that?
Yeah.
Mike?
We don't have an article that, to combine just what I've been hearing, that asks the new board to expand educational opportunities. The newly unified board. There's nothing in here that says, once you're done, create new opportunities to the best of your ability, including but not limited to all the sales pitch, the expanded resources available. We don't hold them to that list, but we're doing this.
Hold them to the concept. Yeah.
It's just not in
Would
there.
that be your vision?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
It's just not in there to expand
If it's in the vision,
opportunities. And we're
then
going
it's
through
there.
this whole resource talking about buildings, and we're not touching on educational components.
Can I just interrupt, just a quick question on something, follow up on Doug's. So, the district he's commenting about submitted their articles and the state said, they didn't say that they're not good, they just said they need some work. They didn't.
They said they're not good. Just call a spade a
They-
spade.
Well, okay, but we've already submitted ours, and we've gotten feedback that we've corrected, so if we, just say we were all in agreement, we all were singing Kumbaya, and we were happy, we mailed these to the state tomorrow, would we have an issue getting them
I don't
approved by
think
the
so.
state?
I think as far as the state goes, we're in a really good position.
So
This
let's,
is about your belief in what you're saying and what you want the community to.
so let's not worry about getting state approval, let's feel that we're pretty confident. And remember, though, there was a comment in your paper, I think, that the state said, we wanna help, it's not like we're saying no, it's just there. And I think we have really done, when I was reading some of their stuff some of it was public outreach and some of it was, getting the people together. And basically they just said, we're doing exactly what we're doing now, and the state's saying, what are you doing different? So I think let's not worry about that, let's make sure that we have something that we're happy with, that we can, if we decide to move this forward, that we can present to the voters and get the voters to buy into. And I think if we could could we have a vision statement up front that, without specific opportunities, like not saying that we want every child to have Spanish, but, we want to increase the opportunities in things such as, and if we leave it not specific, and then that doesn't tie the board, the unified. And can we work on a statement like that goes in the front, and then I think, because you didn't say it had to be in the article,
I
you were,
did.
you wanted it in the
I'm arguing
article.
that it should be an article.
Well, you guys were
So
saying the same thing.
it should be an article, okay, so you two are the same,
Yes.
I think so.
okay. Celia, were you good with that? I mean, were you looking at it to be an article or more of a vision as?
I think it should be both. I think there is absolutely spots
have
where it
both.
is totally appropriate to have pieces of those within an article without binding, tying hands, as we were saying. But I also think that there's value in having like a clear thing at the beginning, a clear introduction, a clear vision that says, this is your charge. This is why we're here. We're not here to figure out what bus is going where or what school is gonna be owned by who. We're here to figure out what we're gonna do for the kids.
Dan?
It seems to me if we were to do that, on page 4, student learning opportunities is where it spells out clearly the strengths that each of the 3 schools have. I think that section could be beefed up by just adding another paragraph or however many it takes to say, these aren't just meant to be for the individual schools, but are meant to be a way for the board. Page 4.
But that's not in the article.
It's
That's
not in the
not-
article,
That's
so
not
I'm
the
not
articles.
speaking against putting it in the articles, but I'm saying if we're gonna have a vision statement something to this effect, it could be rolled in with the preamble, such as it is under the section student learning opportunities.
We'll go to Randy then.
Yeah,
Jim.
mine's just a quick question. I'm assuming that once we vote on a set of articles that go to the state okays them, the State Board of Education okays them, that's it, we're done modifying them at that point, is that correct, John?
We have had experience going back after the fact with, oh, we really need to change this.
And the state would be okay with that? We would have to get
I
it
think
approved
so.
again,
We'd have to
though.
get it approved again,
Yeah.
but
So there is some wiggle room, although I'd probably rather try to avoid it if we could.
I would recommend trying to
Yeah.
avoid it if you can.
Sure, ma'am, Jim.
Especially trying to get a March vote.
Right.
Well, I just wanted to bring up, I'm in agreement that the vision statement should be like one of the first things people are going to see, even if it's added elsewhere. And that's only because even if you're reading, let's say, the Deerfield Valley News, sometimes, you may not know this, sometimes we only read the first paragraph of the article.
Some people never get past the headline.
It's the pyramid
27
format.
pages, you're gonna read the first
Right?
paragraph.
Right, that's right.
Isn't there something where we're supposed to like mention the Deerfield Valley News so many times?
You know, and we sell in West Brattleboro and in Wilmington, so you can get it in either direction.
Oh, where do you sell them?
The official record keeper has quit typing several months ago.
I wore my company shirt and I show that and tell people right away. Hi, Brattleboro. Okay, so I think we've come to an agreement that we need to do some vision and we need to somewhere in the articles give kind of a broad paint stroke. And I know that Carol Ann spent a lot of time doing that for us. So do you folks, do people have her thing that was written with them, and maybe we could look at that, John, and see if we can turn that into our vision?
It's a little long for vision.
No, but I mean, use some of that for the vision. Or does somebody have another idea, or somebody have a recommendation?
Well, I'm just wondering,
Yes,
we are doing fairly good for time.
yep.
So we can tackle it a little bit, but I can also just like copy and paste and email it to everybody and then, because we're meeting again next week, right?
If we have to.
I was gonna say if we wanted to give ourselves homework again.
Boy, I'm so glad you weren't my teacher in school.
Sorry.
Well, I will say, I think that's a good idea. I think it would be improper to rush into this tonight.
It might be counterproductive too.
Yeah, we
We'll start to
We
over
can't if
basic
we're gonna add a
things.
vision and we're
Right,
gonna put it into
exactly.
articles.
Mhm.
So,
Okay, so I will,
well, hang on, before you
Forward it to
do
you.
any of that, I think everybody's gotten it. I
Yeah.
mean, I know it went out,
Yeah.
cause you
I
sent
know,
it
but
to
what I'm gonna
everybody.
do is I'm
Send it
gonna
to
put
the
it,
committee
Yeah.
and
I'm gonna put it in a Google Doc
Mhm.
and everyone, I'll send it to everybody with editing privileges.
Great. That's
I
what-
don't
But if
get
everyone
Google
can.
Docs. I can never open Google Docs.
If you
sign up
open it
as
from
a-
your Wyndham Central,
Oh,
open it from your Wyndham Central email.
okay, do you know my password? 'Cause I- okay, so,
We don't want your edits anyway, actually. She wasn't gonna do
Yeah,
that.
I wasn't gonna send it to you
I
anyway.
started to make a smart report, but I was sitting too
Yeah,
close.
yeah, I'm afraid of it. You're between me.
yeah, I like you. So, is that okay with everybody on the committee that will do that? So that's a vision part of it too. Now, how are we gonna deal with the article part that you guys wanna try to do? What are your suggestions on that?
John suggested Article 5, which,
Or make it Article 1, just make it.
okay, yeah.
Well, I think somebody was saying it should be up front.
Well, Jill was saying it should be up front in the report.
No, Don-
Right.
Yeah,
the report, I don't-
well, the vision in the report, I think, can go up top.
Right.
Well,
So-
you wanna look at the report as almost like the executive summary.
Right.
So I think you'd want that right up front in there, at the top.
A separate Article 1 or fold it into 5?
Well, no,
which is what
the
Don is.
report's
Oh,
different
right,
than the
right, yes,
articles,
yes,
remember?
Before the articles.
Right,
Right.
right. Oh, yeah, yeah.
And
So
again, in the
it's gonna
article-
show in both spots.
Yeah, I think that's
Because
fine.
I think that kind of, when, you hear judges and lawyers talk about legislative intent, this could be our legislative intent, is the vision, and then, the articles, and then we'll let somebody else fight it out. Dan, I hope you're gonna run for the new board. The unified board.
I'm gonna run from it.
So we're all good with the vision. Articles, how are we gonna deal with the articles? So Celine's gonna send out something on, so we can do the vision. How do we wanna deal with the articles? Or what we wanna put in for an article?
I can work on it.
You wanna try to
Yeah,
get
I'm
something out?
happy, yeah.
Just remember, because, you
Yeah.
know, like, it's gonna be a nice weekend and stuff, and people may not be doing their homework, and they may
I'll
be
do my
outside
homework.
playing. Let's try to get it out as early as we can to people. And then please comment so that I can get it back in. Oh,
All right.
I'm sorry, I got your pen.
No.
I was-
it's-
Is that okay with you, Mike? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, with that, I would say Article 5 is curriculum alignment,
Yep.
and Article 6, you shift everything down, could be curriculum enhancement. Or program enhancement, maybe not
I think
necessarily
program
limited,
enhancement
program
is better
enhancement's more
because
broad.
You'll note that, you know, on my list, I didn't say anything about
Agreed.
saying how the science
Carol.
gets taught.
Right, agreed, so
Yeah.
program enhancement would probably be
And
better.
most of us aren't qualified to develop
Sure.
curriculum, so.
That's right.
Educational
That's good.
Okay,
better word.
so is that okay,
Yeah.
Mr.?
That's fine.
Okay, so we got those two things that we kind of have to take care of. So excluding those, are we comfortable with the report? Are we comfortable with the articles, with the exception of the summary? Yes.
I'm sorry, I think I have it just kind of hit me. I think I have two other things.
What article?
Not an article, it's, one is it possible for a town to leave this union if they so choose? To be
Statute too?
There's a law that.
There's a law that's not, we don't need to make an article.
And everybody has to be voted at, you have to.
Okay, so it's a state
Jamaica
rule.
tried to withdraw from the.
Well, that's my
Right.
point, I just realized Jamaica tried to withdraw, and it was, but that, they were governed by a statute, so it doesn't, there's no point putting an article. Okay, got it.
And your other one?
My other one, and is for, I guess goes back to transportation again, for Article 15, school attendance. I thought we were gonna put something in, that had to do with transportation. Well, maybe we weren't, we're gonna just basically leave that up to the next board.
We
in
had
terms-
we had the piece that you put in about
Existing agreements or however it was worded.
Yeah, well, so
Yeah.
it goes from, right, so basically, anything that's transportation goes back to Article 3.
Yeah.
There's nothing in Article.
Transportation policies currently existing.
Yeah, current, but that's, right, policies currently existing, so, or maybe amended in the future. So basically, that gives does that give the current board opportunity to amend transportation to allow, okay. As long as I give that, that's fine.
So, for the articles and the or not the summary, the articles and the, whatever we call this first thing.
division.
No, this,
The
The report.
report.
Oh, the
Yes.
report.
is everybody okay with it, other than those two items that we gotta work on? Is there anything else you wanna all see changed? So if we go to the next meeting and we come up with a vision that everybody says is great, and we come up with Article 6 that everybody says is great, would you folks be ready to vote on this?
Heck, yeah.
Okay. So then did you question or you?
No.
No, okay. So on the summary, is there any comments on the summary that John
The
put together?
conclusions?
The
The
conclusions, I'm
review.
sorry,
Yeah, document called review,
right. So that would be the next thing.
and the name.
Well, no, let's do the.
Those are the two that we
Right.
have to do.
I got it
Sure,
right.
for White House.
Sorry.
I think you're looking over there, Jim. You still looking at that?
No, no.
Okay. So now we're on to
That.
Oh, you got it there.
Yeah.
Okay, he's got it on.
Remember, is it gonna be something?
Annie.
So,
Yeah. when
the
it's done.
conclusion that John worked on, are you folks okay with that?
Well, all I did was try to do was
Well,
take what you did and put it.
I was gonna say there's a lot there.
Yeah, there's a lot there, so to say I'm okay with it.
Well,
No.
okay, so what do you wanna change in it?
changing it, a conclusion, you
That's
should
not
never
good.
have a conclusion that's 15 pages long,
Yeah,
Rich.
right.
That's not a
Oh,
conclusion,
no,
that's a document on its own.
he's gonna take all that stuff where it said what each individual board member said, that's coming out. It's just the top part.
So
of
what's,
it.
so what's staying? Just the front part that John
Let
wrote?
me steal it, yeah,
That's
Okay.
a suggestion.
I have a question, I have some questions on that.
okay, I'm sorry.
First of all, you gotta decide what kind of format you want for a conclusion. I always just wrote that as a suggested way to do a conclusion.
So basically, Randy, would just be the first 2 pages is the conclusion.
If you use the format
And
that I put together.
the top of the third page.
Top of the
Don't
third
add
page,
one
right,
word.
where it says first contribution, that's just so everybody can see what people wrote.
Okay. Yeah, I got a couple quick questions.
Okay.
John,
Yes.
so you have the grid with the 2 columns, aligned and unaligned, that's lost on me, what exactly that means.
Okay,
Are they
so-
pros and cons, positives, negatives, I don't know.
Well,
Yes.
isn't that like?
What I tried to do was to say what you learned, which things that you learned at a unified, and for as forming a unified district would be aligned with Act 46, and which ones would be unaligned, which really would hurt the goals of Act 46.
Okay,
So,
so maybe
so
you
we
just
need a
add
better
that
way
in.
to say it.
Well, maybe you just add in aligned with Act 46 and unaligned with Act 46. If you just
Yeah.
add that, that would
Yeah, that
clarify
would
it.
count.
Okay.
That would say, because again, we're working with this, and we've been working with it for months, and then we're gonna put it out there to the public, and they're gonna look at this and say, what the heck is that? Because I said that the first time I looked at it.
Yeah, but is that format even useful for you?
Well, that's the bigger question. I mean, it's
Okay,
kinda
so
nuts.
let's talk about that, let's just talk on format for now, not content. Is the format okay with people, or is there a better way to do it?
I don't know, I think it's very easily accessible, which is what I like about it. I think folks are going to want to see, rather than getting all mushy in a conclusion, they wanna just like,
Here's your fact
there it
sheet.
is.
That- again,
It's
that's
just
your
right
summary,
out
your
there.
summary.
So, I'm not hearing any negatives, do we wanna keep this format, and then we'll just work on the content next? Anybody doesn't wanna keep this
So
format?
there'd be there would be a paragraph though, that summed this up.
This is
Yeah.
what it's gonna be,
Yeah,
it's gonna be the
yeah.
first 2
Before and
pages,
after
Right,
top
so
of the
the
third
before and
page.
after stay.
Right. So there's an introduction to it,
Mhm.
and there's a conclusion to the center graph that
Yeah.
is laying it all out. I think it's very accessible to all folks.
Okay, so let's go
Whether
with
you-
it.
I'm fine with it, this is more for John, so,
Mhm.
who's this really written for? Is this really written for the AOE and the state board? That's my take, more so than it would be for kind of the thing we're talking about with Carol Ann, about,
This
for
is-
the voters.
I'd say this is written, and you gotta remember, sort of my bias is engineering, so I'm kind of a bridge builder,
Uh-huh.
kind of, I'm not a schmooze guy. And so this is written to take what I've heard you say and say, here's the goals of Act 46, here's what we see that is aligned with, I'm just repeating myself though.
Yeah.
Really is what Act 46 was trying to do, and this would do it. Here's some things that would happen that really go against the goals of Act 46. Because I've heard, those are the kinds of things I've heard you say.
Yeah, and they're definitely, what you got in there is really distilled down everything we've talked about over the last 3.5 months.
And almost all this is from what was submitted too, in the text that I got.
And the paragraph, the top paragraph, I think really spells it out. This is what this is.
Well, it's a summary, the conclusion is really the last 2 paragraphs after the grid.
Right.
That's, we all agreed at the last meeting, whether you like what we're doing or not, we're gonna put it out there for the voters, right? That was pretty strongly agreed to by everybody. So I'm actually
I also
good
put
with
that sentence in that, that in part, you're reacting isn't the right word, but you're responding to the pressures you're under from the state board and the
Yeah.
legislature. And so I thought that ought to be in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise, as much as it's nice to get together with you guys every Thursday, I probably wouldn't be here.
I don't know, I was having fun.
You'd be, yeah.
Well, you're at a meeting all the time.
The meeting was had earlier was better, they had chocolates. No sugar.
So if the structure's okay, we should just see if there are bullets that need to be added or removed or taken.
So we're all good on structure. We're good with the paragraphs in front and behind. What about the content? So give me some input on content, somebody, please. Or just say it's great, and John, you did a wonderful building of a bridge, and we're gonna move on. John, you did a wonderful job,
Yeah,
but,
I copied and pasted what people said.
I know, that's why I thought you did good, you got the important ones there. See, everybody's reading it now, nobody did homework, even though they said they did. Yeah,
I read it.
I know you
read it
did.
too, and there was something that bothered me and I can't find it.
It couldn't have bothered you that bad then.
Yeah, right.
I didn't really see anything that I thought was glaringly missing from it. You know.
Okay, then you know what? We're gonna move on because I'm not hearing anything. Is that okay with you, Dan?
Well,
Good?
if you
Am I always the one that drags my feet up stuff?
No, but you're the next most senior board member I know. That's why I went to you, buddy.
Move on.
Okay,
Thanks.
this is a fun thing, guys. No, it isn't, I'm sorry, public review. So Doug asked a question, I said we would talk about it here. So I guess I'm wondering if we were to send this out for, do we wanna send this out for the changes we made tonight, but we won't have a vision and we won't have that extra article in there. If we send this out now, that may be the question everybody asks for public review.
Send it out to the state or?
No,
send-
to the public,
To
we're
the
talking
public,
public
okay.
review. Okay, we wanted, somebody asked, Doug asked about public review, and I said we would talk about it here.
Well, I didn't finish my
Okay, go on, I'm
statement.
sorry.
I just wanted to, and I was saying the reason you should do that is so that you do have an opportunity to give the people a voice on it. Because, even our government does that. USDA proposals come out and then, there's a public comment period and you can give your commentary. But if you don't do that, and people may have ideas that you're missing, or then you have a public that has been involved or at least invited to engage, and then when they go to vote, it's like, oh, well, the public comment period is from, December 1st till December 15th or something like that. Just put it out there.
Can I answer a question real quick? And I'll get
You
to
we might be thinking the same question.
Okay, so let me ask you this, John.
Yep.
What if we were to work on the vision and work on the other thing and put that together at our next meeting, and maybe we don't need as long a meeting if everybody does their homework? And we get that all together, and then we say, okay, now we're gonna put this out, because we won't meet Thanksgiving. But maybe and I don't even know if we would have to have a meeting where you would come to, maybe we could even just have you phone in or something, and say, this is what we're proposing, and have public input, and then the group can hear that, we can record that, and then maybe just, if there may be no public input, or if there is, we can, if we think it's worthwhile changing, then we can change it, then we could do that for that first Thursday in December. Would that be doable and still get our timeline, because
That's
you've
what
had your first review?
Yeah, that's what, I'm trying to remember when the final needs to be submitted to the state
I
board.
thought it was sometime in December.
Let me just look up.
So, did everybody hear what I said to John? So, let's just see what he,
I was thinking, you put it on your blog, there's an email that people can respond to, just send you comments,
That's
and,
what.
and
that
not
was
have
my
to have a
question.
public, not,
Yeah, we could share it in our towns, the way you've been sharing all your information. And we say, go to the website for the link, and if you have any comments on these, get them to us, to this email address.
By
Call,
this.
or call somebody, or mail it to, and you have all three options, and then
Okay.
it's gone.
Randy, will you? And Mr.
I
Johnson?
would put it out there right away. I wouldn't wait.
Put it out as it is now with just a
With a note,
caveat
with a
that-
draft on it, that this
Draft,
is a
yeah.
draft, we're close enough. And, because otherwise you're backing everything up at least another week. I mean, we know what we're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
We're kinda just sort of, finishing the sauce, if you will, at this point. So I put it out there right away, as soon as,
Plus,
Jeff
if you,
takes tonight.
if you put out a draft and then you guys make your changes, it'll seem like you were listening to people. When you
That's all we care about,
It's easy to be on the board.
Or it'll seem like somebody read them and commented actually, because we'll see how many you get back.
That's a good point.
Madam Secretary,
I was just gonna ask Anita if, like, logistically, how much of a, like, what does this look like if we wanted to put it on the blog post and and people are commenting on it? Like, I'm just thinking that this might.
Right, they're not gonna be live comments on the blog. It'll be
Right.
an email response or call the representative from
Right.
your town.
Right.
If you wanna chat about it, they're more than happy to listen to you.
Come to a board meeting.
Come to a meeting.
Come to a meeting, what a
We've been
concept.
asking people to do, from the start.
and they
So-
are.
Or a regular board meeting.
Yeah.
Even.
And they
No,
did.
Regular town board meeting.
And
No,
so that's the easy part. The hard part is driving people to that site to look at it. And of course, that's again, press releases to the Deerfield Valley News and other publications. And you all talking it up. And, so that's my job, is to start, notices to schools, notices to select boards, notices to school boards, notices to PR, everybody, this is out there, you can read it, and here's where your comment. But to your comment earlier, not everybody has a computer.
Exactly.
So then what?
Well, but it's also in the newspaper.
What, the
Well,
whole
the articles
article?
aren't.
28 pages?
No, but in the newspaper, there's gonna be in that, what is it, what newspaper? It's gonna be, there's gonna be a comment, and there's an article, obviously, because there's a person sitting there taking notes. And in that article, if it was to say something like, oh, and if you have any comments, here's, where you find out how to make comments.
Yeah.
And we can do that in a press release to the other newspapers.
Right, but we're still driving them to the website, and
Right.
I'm trying to be a little bit sensitive to what we
So if
want.
you don't have a website, give them my phone number, and I'll get it to them.
Copies at a town office?
If they don't have a computer, they can
Contact
call
your
me at
town.
home.
No, I think it's really important that there be a hard copy in each town, and in 3 places, even if it's a draft, because there are people who won't access it, believe it or not, on their computer.
Yeah, it seems, if you're gonna put hard copies out, it seems to me the obvious place to start is the schools,
Yeah.
right? Because you get parents in and out of here, and they're the ones who in theory should be interested in what's gonna happen, since it directly affects their kids' education. Does anybody, who has kids in their schools here? You guys do. Are you getting any information on this through the schools?
Yeah.
You are?
Yes.
Okay. That's
I'm
good.
sending it to the schools, whether they
Yeah.
choose to use it or not. I
Okay,
can't-
because I don't know, because I'm out of Dover school, so.
So, John looked it up, we have to have it to the state by December 1st, so Doug's suggestion works. So if we were to release this thing tonight, we can do the press release, we can get in the paper, we can say that copies will be available, at the individual schools, town, I don't wanna say that it can be put out at the town office, because I don't know if the town office has a.
Schools is fine.
Yeah, I think we do it at the schools, if somebody really has interest, and you can put a phone number down. If you can't get to the school, call this number, and somebody will make sure you get a copy somehow. And, if I have to call Dan and say, hey, this lady on this road here says, can you get a copy, then it gives Dan an excuse to go out and politic.
I can do that.
Then I'm sure, Dwight, you want to politic in your town, yes?
Before we conclude tonight, is it possible that we could start a vision statement to have that out there? If this is gonna go out to people, it'd be nice to have that right up front.
Okay, well, let's hold on that comment right now, or hold that thought, let's finish this thing. So is everybody good with that? And then we'll keep our meeting schedule the way it is, and we'll need comments by what date? So we probably will need comments by like Tuesday, so that we can put them together Wednesday, so on Thursday we can have it,
That's
right?
a short.
Yeah, give everybody a chance to do their homework.
Because we're anticipating voting on this next Thursday, right?
Well, if we are, yeah, then it's a very short time.
Yes.
Because otherwise,
We're into the following.
it's gonna have to be, because we're not gonna be.
People
on
could send their
Thanksgiving.
comments in, I mean, as long as you had
Well,
them
that's what I'm
by the
saying.
meeting Thursday,
Have them by the meeting Thursday?
so by noon on Thursday or something.
Okay. Are you coming to a meeting next week?
Yes, I am, but
So do they send them to the, Yeah.
It's not gonna get in the paper.
It's too late for the paper. Then you
Too
have to
late for
get
the
today's.
paper.
Well,
We can-
you know,
we
you
can put it
folks
on our
tell me what you
website.
wanna do. I mean, I just, you know,
We're kind of crunched here,
Yeah.
really, because of, and a lot of it is because of the holiday.
the other thing, part of what I think's been going on is we've been telling people they're out there, you know, you can come to the meeting, you know, even though we haven't put a hard copy somewhere, or had electronic versions out there, you know, people have come to the meetings. I mean, that's how Caroline knew that there was nothing in it about, that the fluff wasn't there, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, I don't know what else.
When is,
So-
I'm sorry, when is when is it due?
December
first.
1st.
We have to have
December
it to the
1st.
state by December 1st.
That's 3 weeks from today.
Is it, you guys feel like,
Thanks.
you know, could you have a mock vote just to see where people stand, and then maybe just a quorum gather after Thanksgiving, after a public comment period?
Could we have a mock vote?
Well, we've already basically taken a
They've
vote
not.
that everybody agrees we should put this to the voters.
Okay,
So we
Something
are
to
going
the
to
voters.
approve something, it's just a matter of what.
okay.
We're not gonna vote it down.
So why can't you push that out just another week or so to get
Well,
more
because then you
response?
run into Thanksgiving,
Thanksgiving.
and then you're into the 1st of December.
So what if you
Is
jumped
that
your
the last
seven,
week?
Yeah, hang on.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes it tough. You good?
what if you jumped your 17th meeting to say the 21st? And that way you have an entire week, that way it makes the paper.
Monday?
Because we have a school board meeting Monday night.
Alright,
That's
yeah, I know
why we
y'all
picked
have
the
other
Thursdays,
meetings,
and
so-
it's really hard to
I
find
know.
a
Yeah, that's a
non-meeting
tough,
night.
that's a tough.
yeah, the other
It'd
committee
be-
ran into that, and so they
Right.
scheduled their, committee meetings for 5 and then roll into their school board meetings at
So,
7.
to
That's
be
a lot.
really honest, I'm allergic to turkey, so I don't mind meeting Thanksgiving.
But how does, how do you submit this? Is it just like an email
I
to the
thought you were gonna
state?
ask me what I ate for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Do
We
you,
have-
you just email it off, or you
Yeah,
have,
you'll email it.
or do you have to
out.
mail a copy, a hard copy
Oh,
form?
I'm sorry, I thought you were about the
No.
comments.
No.
About this?
Yeah.
This will go to the blog.
No, how do we submit it to
To
the
the
state?
state.
It's submitted
Oh.
by email.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So why couldn't you meet on the 28th, somewhere between the 28th and 30th, just to approve the thing, just to vote to approve the thing? There's a couple, you know, you only need a quorum to
Yeah,
vote. to
but
approve.
again, the problem is we're in Vermont,
Mhm.
we got Route 9 and Route 100. We get a snowstorm or we get something, you're just cutting your throat. I mean, we could have snow next Thursday and we wind up not having a meeting,
And then
and
we
then
would
we
have
are
to push
blowing
it
it
off.
off.
One of the things that I've been thinking about,
So I'd rather not get to the end.
Yeah.
Let me do, because I interrupted her and then we'll get to it,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
that's all right.
I mean, I appreciate everyone's concern about wanting to have a long amount of time for public comment, but I also am slightly hesitant. 7 days is a pretty decent amount of time for public comment. And it could get, with the holiday and everything else, it's like, let's just, if we put our efforts into it and put it out there and put it on the website for the newspaper, contact, put it on Front Porch Forum, contact, do our own little like PR campaign around this. I mean, we all have lots of contacts in our inboxes and neighbors we talk to, people we see at the post office, and workmates and so on and so forth, and say, hey, you have 7 days. Let's do this. If this is something you're really invested in, let's rally together.
And it's not something that they're just hearing about, because, I mean, we've been putting this.
Exactly.
So,
And I think 7 days is, it's
What do you-
actually it's a decent
So what does
amount of
everybody
time.
think of that? Should
Well, I
we-
guess they've been hearing that we've been working on it, but the articles themselves haven't
You
been
haven't shared
available
They
for
haven't
anybody
been,
to see.
they have been available at the meetings, and if people were that interested, when they come to a meeting, obviously some people did and saw the articles, and
Yeah, anybody who asked for them, they were forwarded a copy.
Mhm.
I think, sometimes we can just overthink this and we can I mean, it just seems like we're never gonna reach everybody. There's always gonna be people that are gonna say, I didn't know what you were doing. And I think that was part of the Wilmington thing. I think here, we've done everything in the world we can to reach out to people. I mean, we're doing the front porch, we're doing all this stuff. I just don't know, I think we've really, I don't think anybody can fault us for not trying.
Well, let's rephrase it and put it around, what do we have local control, what do we have control over? Everyone's discouraged over the election. Let's rally around something local that we feel passionately about. Our schools, read the articles, tell us what you think.
There you go.
All right.
Write that
There you
down.
go.
That was
Put that
perfect,
down.
actually.
You get that on tape?
This is that third wall or fourth wall they talk about, you know, you can't, like, he doesn't
Yeah.
exist.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Let's move on. Are we good with that? We're gonna give them the 7 days, we're gonna meet next Thursday, and we're hopefully gonna have a vote. They can, so what
So-
email are they gonna send comments to the?
My media desk at WCSU at wyndhamcentral dot, WCSU.media at wyndhamcentral.org.
Oh,
Okay,
golly.
so can I just ask a logistical
Oh,
question?
sure.
So John, how quickly could you get us, all of the board members here, in our inbox, a watermark draft copy of this, so that way we can start disseminating
Yeah,
this
tomorrow noon.
tomorrow noon?
So that's when it'll go on the blog tomorrow.
Fantastic.
Yes.
And will you have beginning of a vision statement that you'll
Well,
request?
that's our
to-
next question. But
Uh,
we got a couple other things we gotta talk about before we get there. So we know something's gonna go out, I don't know exactly what. Is everybody good with that? Can we move forward? I wanna get to the fun thing. He's gotta have a name for the district, so we gotta discuss names for the district. What?
Annie?
Annie?
Oh. Andy Bartlett thought up one.
Oh,
I caught her in the kitchen tonight and said, we need a name. And I had tried one, but it sounded a little weird, and I like hers better. Overboroughs, or borough. Just Overborough. If you wanna say that there's two boroughs in there, Wardsboro and Marlboro, then you can make pluralize
I'm
it, but
taking
just Overboroughs.
There's no Dover.
Oh, we're the over?
You're the over.
You're the over.
Yeah.
You're first in line.
Ah.
Gee
Like Overbrook.
Nee, you had a bunch of them.
My suggestion was the Snow Valley schools. Cause we're on either sides of the Snow Valley, so the Snow Valley schools. And then I liked the ones with the first letters of the names, like Wadoma or Dowama or something like that to mess up the letters. And of course, I liked Randy's WND.
Weapons of mass destruction.
Can't get
Oh,
there
that's
from here.
John's.
Can't get there from here.
I like that.
You know, I second that one.
Yeah, I'm good with that one.
Can't get that from here.
Do we have any of the principals ask the kids? I know, I saw Laura put that out there at the last.
I sent
Okay.
it to the principals and didn't hear a peep.
You know what? Let's add that to that, and let's do the list, and we'll have a vote next time.
Yeah, see if we
Is
get
that
some
okay
kids.
with people? Or
Do we have to have the name when we send the articles up?
Yes, that's what he said, was told.
By December 1st, when it goes in.
We can't just say baby doe, but they do that with the.
We're not an orphan.
We're not an orphan.
Okay. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah, we might as well
Did,
do it all
can you
next
get,
week.
did somebody get the extra ones that Doug and
I have
Bessie just told us?
Overboroughs, it's hard to say,
Overborough
Unified
is hard to
District,
say.
Yep,
OUD, OUD.
no,
Over.
Over.
As in Dover.
Overboro, Overboro.
OVER.
Right, but then it's a union district, so OUD is what he's.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
OUD?
Odd.
O-U-D.
Ood.
Oud. It is, it's a musical instrument.
And then
Three
we got
strings.
Doug's, right?
Well, no, what was Doug's?
Can't get there from here.
I like that one.
I think you should throw that out there, because I think that the state would maybe catch on.
Why not?
And then there was another one somebody threw out.
Yeah, no.
No, we got hers.
Yeah, you got that
What was
one.
yours?
Mine was using the first part of the name of every one, and I tried Meadowad. Of course, I mean, we know it's Wadsboro, not Wardsboro. but,
Right, yeah.
But it sounds like an Indian name, you know, it just,
Yeah, that might be.
yeah, right. But I'm not sure that goes with
Wadoma?
O-U-D either.
Wadoma. That's kind of.
Wadoma, yeah.
Wadoma was one I liked. It had a nice
Yeah.
Abenaki sound to it.
Yep.
Wadoma.
Now, we probably get in trouble for that.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Just keep.
Okay, so, you know what, let's,
Unless we
can each, one person from each town make sure you go to the schools and make sure that like we got morning sings on Friday,
Today would
maybe
have
we
been the day
can
to do it at the
just
feast.
let the kids know and if they have
Monday mornings
a
also
cool
was it.
name. And that may be a
Not
good way for
tomorrow.
people if they have questions too, so.
I know.
Okay, so then we got, the only other thing we have is, so we'll meet again next Thursday at Dover.
I have one more thing.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me when they were going to see the actual ballot, and at the last meeting, we had a draft of a ballot, but somebody asked me that this week.
It'll be a while because after the articles are approved, then we have to have an attorney make sure the ballot's done properly.
All right,
And we have some notes on the ballot too, because we wanna make sure we include that the town has to vote
got it.
to close a building, and there's a few other things that we'll wanna make sure that are in there, but let's get,
All right, so I still need some December dates before you adjourn the meeting, because I have to tell the Bucketville News something tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. So I need anything you might wanna know about December.
I don't wanna tell you what's on his calendar. Depart for Florida.
When do we plan to have these public meetings? In
Well,
January?
I think let's get the articles together, and let's get them up there, get them approved.
Going to your
And then
thing.
we'll have to figure out, let's plan on that on the 27th, because I don't know. Well, I'm sorry, the next meeting, the 17th.
17.
If we do them by the 17th, we're all set, right?
No,
No.
Bucketville
No,
News.
day after tomorrow is my deadline for the Bucketville News.
Okay.
And
But
that
we're not
is,
gonna have public meetings till January.
right, well, that is the most valuable resource for reaching the community of Wardsboro.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, we won't have meetings till January, so if we give you, so tomorrow is the Bucketville News for December?
December, so is the board gonna meet in December? Can I have anything,
Are we gonna meet in December?
is the committee rather?
We're gonna have
How
to
long
meet,
is review gonna
we're
be?
gonna have to meet in December,
We're gonna have
at
to meet
least
those
once,
boards
to
at least once.
plan
Plan
the,
the- plan
the-
You could say
outreach,
that
yeah.
there would be
Well,
public
you might wanna
meetings
meet and
Up
in
plan your
January, dates to be confirmed,
sessions.
or
Right.
something
We're
like
gonna
that.
More than one meeting in December is probably not gonna work, but we're gonna have to meet once in December.
we're gonna have to meet at least once
Okay,
in
so-
December
When do we have,
to plan
when
out
is
these
the Wyndham
meetings.
Central agenda?
I don't have that.
Oh,
Do you have, when we meet,
yeah, I do.
I think we reserved the 8th, didn't we? 7th or 8th?
We had a
For the
tentative
budget
date.
meeting?
Who's that? Is that us or?
We have a bunch of meetings, don't we, though?
No, but I meant Wyndham Central.
Oh, I don't know.
I think we have a meeting in December to do the, we reserved it
Yeah,
to
I'm
do the
going to
budget.
DC the 12th, okay.
Anybody? No? Jim? Dan?
Wait, are we looking at
So we
Thursdays in
meet,
December?
we meet this Wednesday. We meet next Wednesday.
Thursday.
Thursday.
No, we meet, Wyndham Central,
Oh,
guys,
oh,
please.
oh,
Wyndham Central meets next Wednesday. And then I don't think, is there a Wednesday after Thanksgiving that isn't in December?
There's the 30th of November.
Okay, that must have been the second date we
That's
chose,
the
right?
second WCSU date, yes.
Okay. Did we reserve the following?
The 7th is also on the calendar,
Okay.
yes.
So we could meet on December 1st.
That's the day it's due.
Yeah, but we're not meeting to do anything other than set other meetings and stuff, so.
I mean, I can certainly announce that there will be no Act 46 committee meetings for Dover, Wardsboro, and yada yada during December, but then,
No, they'll need to have one though, to plan January sessions.
So let's just do
When-
December 1st.
When will the Bucketville News for December come out?
Yeah.
the Bucketville News for December will come out early
After
because
tomorrow.
it's going to press 4 days earlier. So it will be out around that first, second, or third.
So maybe we should
We
have
should
the
meet the
meeting on
8th.
December 8th, so
We
that
should
way it
meet the
gives
8th.
Wardsboro time to.
Does that work for everybody?
Involved in the conversation, yeah.
Okay, so December 8th,
Thank you.
be there or be square.
Where?
In
Wardsboro?
It'll
It'll
be
be
Wardsboro.
Wardsboro's turn.
Because Dover is next week, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So far.
And do I have an agenda for next week?
Not yet. I just,
Oh, sorry.
we haven't finished this meeting.
I'm trying to focus.
I sent it to you really quickly last time.
You
so
did.
Don't get too nervous, man. Okay, we all good?
Not quite,
Yes.
vision statement part.
No, I know.
Okay.
Well, we all set with everything but the
Okay.
vision statement. Okay. Now we got 5 minutes to work on vision. Jill, please lead us in the vision.
Oh my God.
No, would you have an idea, your thoughts, or,
Well, just
I'm gonna give you the floor, because
I
you've
know,
been so.
just an opening line that we can use that grabs people's attention about our children and our vision for their education in the future, so it would just be,
Yeah, what do we got?
I don't know.
Due to the uncertain future of our student populations,
Yeah.
any thoughts, anybody? I don't know what everybody's looking at.
Well,
Calendar.
Go ahead.
can we use something, I'm not sure what we're looking for, along the lines of what's on top of our agenda? So this is a vision, it's not a vision, this is a vision for the articles, for the
committee.
not vision of what's.
Vision of what the school district
Right,
could look
so
like.
I'm not sure, if you're trying to, vision statements in my
Yeah,
experience
but
take a lot
Hey,
of time.
Get one line to put
Carol
in
Ann,
there.
would you lead us in something, because you so.
Vision statements are not my thing.
It's too late at night for me to think about that stuff.
I have to be at a keyboard to think. I can't, not good.
Yeah, so.
Hey, Mrs. Bartlett, Ms.
Hmm?
Bartlett,
Yes.
as a former long-term school board member, give us a thought. What would, if you were the benevolent dictator of this group, what would you come up with as a vision, or what would you like to see? In broad, general terms.
Yeah. That's a tough one. Well,
Did you run it
I
back?
tend, yeah, right, I tend to write longer screens than that. I don't know, we tried it in school board, and tried to revise it, tried to bring it up to date, and weren't too successful. Go ahead.
Does Dover and Woodsboro each have a mission statement?
We all have mission. Oh, I know Dover does. We have a mission and a vision and, you know, the strategic
I didn't know if there
plan.
might be a way to combine them, like,
Okay, that's a good point. Why don't we
could be a
get all
starting
our,
point.
why don't we get our vision statements
Yeah, we-
together? And we'll send that out to everybody. So, Mike, I think you're the only board member. Can you see if somebody will forward the vision statement?
I have it right here. I'll send it to the
Okay.
group right now.
And I'll get you Dover's, and,
So
will you, if
I'm
we
working
send it
on
to you?
Marlboro's right now.
Okay, so we'll do that, we'll send out the vision statement, and we can put that in your thing too.
Yeah, copy me on all
Yeah,
this.
well, I try to, everything, you get everything.
That'll go out to all of us.
Yeah,
Pardon?
That'll go out to all
No,
of us.
yes, she'll send it out to all of us once we get them all together.
wheelhouse?
We'll get that to you too, and maybe you
I
have
can-
something.
Yeah, and if I see all three statements, I can edit, I can,
Well, I think, remember too, it's not gonna be any, I think it wants to be, if this is our vision now, this is what we're trying to achieve now, we wanna achieve more, it's gotta be more than what we're showing, but I think it just gives us a place to start. Cause again, if it's gonna be the same, then why bother, other than the
there's a
bad things.
good lesson in the physics of light. One candle gives off X amount of light, and another candle over there gives off X amount of light. But if you put the two candles side by side, they give off more than 2x of light. And so there's that synergy that you can bank on in the physics of light. So bank on the synergy in the physics of school governance.
Which brings
Yeah.
up Gestalt thinking, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Same applies to music and violins.
Okay. Who was that?
The analogy she gave with candlelight, it's the same with music and violins.
I
But
thought you said
Gestalt, the Gestalt thinking, what that means,
It's not a person.
it's a way, it's a philosophy, and it just, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
See, I'm in a school and I learned something.
There you go.
In English.
Okay,
Sustainability is a good word to incorporate, because I think
Individual?
that's what it's all about.
My favorite word.
It's not, or it is.
It's not, I think it's
That's-
overused.
It's overused, it's true,
but that
but,
kinda fits into the
but it
idea of,
fits into what we're trying
because
to
of the
make sure
future
we do.
decline is one of the reasons the state said they did this, so.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that you're seeking synergy for the benefit of the students. I mean,
That's
You
good.
guys are all taking notes of this?
That's
Jill?
why it's videoed.
Yes.
It's a good starting point.
Okay, does anybody else have any other things to throw out at us?
Can I borrow your pen?
Thank you for the vibrant meeting.
Ah, yes.
Thank you, Deb. Okay, if there's nothing else, then, you know, I don't think anybody will hate me if I ask for somebody to make a motion to adjourn. Lucy,
Second.
Dan, everybody. Good job, guys. Really
Thanks,
good.
Rich.
Thanks.
Thanks, Rich.
Don't leave, we're gonna just go quickly.